Hey y'all, what's up, what's up? I'm back after almost a week. Huh, I didn't mean to take a break for that long. I'm sorry about that, I really am, but I did kind of need to recharge. We're back at it though, so here we go. Now, before we get into this next video, I need to explain something real quick. You guys might be aware of a major leak that happened just yesterday, courtesy of the Sonic Frontiers EGX demo, but you might be wondering why I didn't make a video on it, and there is a darn good reason for it. Sega had been pretty lax on many of the leaks that have happened for Frontiers, but in the case of this one, not so much. They actually issued a copyright strike to the one who posted the video containing those leaks. And when I realized this, I was like, nah, I think it's one leak I'm gonna steer clear of covering. I usually am not averse to covering leaks as I find them exciting to talk about, but in this case, yeah, I'm gonna sit it out. Although, if I'm being fair, and without really giving anything away, this particular leak doesn't really concern anything more than what happens during the first island, or Kronos Island, so it wasn't as major a leak as I thought it would be. But regardless, I've had a near perfect record of not having any copyright strikes on my channel in my 10 plus years of doing YouTube, and I would very much like to keep it that way. So if you guys don't see me discussing the leaks in question, now you know why. As far as all of the leaks go, those appear to be fair game, at least for now. But we're not going to be discussing any of them in this video. We're going to be talking about the third playable island in Sonic Frontiers, which is a Volcano Island that we briefly saw in the TGS trailer some weeks ago. You already know about the first two islands by now. First there's your standard grassroots island in Kronos Island, which is where the game will kick off, and then there's your desert island in Ares Island. Some of the more observant ones out there will have realized that these two islands share a trend here, and that they appear to be named after Greek mythology. Kronos Island as in Kronos the Titan, and Ares Island as in Ares the god of war. The third island has been given the name Chaos Island. A missed opportunity to call it Hades Island. Man, come on, it was right there. I guess it also could have gone with Eris, as in Eris the Goddess of Discord, or E-R-I-S, just so that nobody gets confused. But phonetically, it does sound too similar to Ares Island, so that would not have been a good idea. Instead, they tossed around some ideas and ended up with Chaos Island. And it is a decent name for a volcanic wasteland, so we can go with that. But it is going to be a water-based island in the game, and bear in mind, we don't know yet if that will be the case or not. If it's going to be a water island, it would have been perfect if they named that one Chaos Island instead. After all, Sonic Frontiers is described to be just as revolutionary to the series as Sonic Adventure was. And as such, it would have been a fitting callback, because, you know, water, chaos, I'm sure you can put two and two together. Now, you're probably asking something along the lines of, if we're avoiding leaks in this video, why are we spoiling the name of a third island? Except for one, this isn't a leak. You already saw the Volcano Island TGS trailer, as I said a bit ago. What harm is there in knowing what it's called? And secondly, this information comes from Famitsu, a Japanese news outlet that you might be familiar with by now if you've been following Sonic. They disclose the content of a guidebook that will be bundled with the Japanese release of Sonic Frontiers, and it describes 3 of the 5 playable islands. You see artwork for Kronos Island, Ares Island, and Chaos Island. Though it doesn't completely match the visuals as they are seen in the TGS trailer, I think we can deduce from these color patterns and the art style that this is definitely the Volcano Island. They haven't revealed the last 2 islands yet, and they're likely going to keep that under wraps for until the game comes out because, to be fair, they've shown a lot of the game already. As for whether this guidebook will be released outside of Japan, well, I have no idea. I don't think any clarification about that has been offered yet. I'd love to hope that it will get a release outside of Japan, but from what I've seen, some of the merchandise in association with Sonic games has been restricted specifically to Japan. Sonic Colors Ultimate has some examples of that. And keep in mind, Sega of America and Sega of Japan may both be Sega, but they are still based in different regions, have different staff teams, and also have different ways of doing things. So I don't know how hopeful I would be about getting this guidebook outside of Japan. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. They have been going crazy with this game's marketing, especially in Japan. Although Sonic has been typically successful in the Americas and in Europe and in other parts of the world, they really wanted to take off in Japan, as Sonic was never quite as popular there, which has always been astonishing to me. But recent events at the Tokyo Game Show strongly suggest that Sonic is about to get hella popular in Japan. Sonic Frontiers actually won an award for being one of the most anticipated games in Japan, an event that, as far as I can recall, has never taken place for the Sonic series before, which is freaking crazy, but as a Sonic fan, I couldn't be happier. Apparently, you couldn't go a single day at Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show, or most recently EGX London, without seeing all the Frontiers booths packed, and that is an understatement. They've been bursting with activity non-stop. Mind-blowing to think about, now isn't it? But back to Chaos Island. There's no gameplay of it floating around at this time, at least not that I've seen, but considering the Sega has been intent on letting us know about the existence of this particular island, gameplay for it is probably going to be within their next wave of content to put out when marketing the game. After all, we still have a whole month to get through before Sonic Frontiers actually releases, and it could be one way they have in mind of holding us over until then. But I could totally see them directing our attention to the Frontiers prologue animation, as we're still waiting to hear more about that, aren't we? For now, we only have a TGS trailer and the Sonic Frontiers art book to refer to when wanting to do any detective work for Chaos Island. Though I don't see how much we can accomplish in the way of that as it stands, because from looking at both of these things, all we can really pick up on is the fact that there's an island with volcanoes. There's not a whole lot more to say. We don't get as in-depth a look at it as we do with Kronos Island and Ares Island, but sit tight, it shouldn't be that much longer before we do. As suggested in my other video where we discussed Chaos Island, though it had yet to be named as such at the time, I could totally see the challenge in this area being related to visibility, as in like clouds of steam being scattered all over the area, and by completing puzzles, you remove that steam and regain visibility, making it much easier to travel around the island. And then of course there's a risk of falling into lava beds which could double as death pits, much like falling into the ocean side over at Kronos Island. But without being able to see any gameplay of it at this time, we don't actually know how the island will play out. But I could totally see a lot of creative potential with this third island. It's making my imagination run wild, although Sonic is a lot more known for that. The reason why I think this might be the case is that on watching the TGS trailer, we see a colorless shot of an area wreathed in fog, or steam I should say. This could be a shot of a totally different island, I know, but notice how there's fire raining around the screen. This might actually be the Volcano Island, I'm fairly sure of that. It also cuts to another shot of the Volcano Island, but with color this time, and then to a third shot of Sonic staring out at it from a distance. You don't see the fog in the next two shots, but you do see it in the first one, and it might end up impacting gameplay. Would be a creative idea in my opinion, as long as it isn't made too annoying, I guess I should say. Of course, I have other ideas about how this area could play out, but rather than repeat them here, I'll just point y'all toward the other video I made about the Volcano Island being teased in the Frontiers art book, in case you want to hear them. The point of this video was simply to let you know that this island has been given a name, and that is Chaos Island. It's on you to decide if it's well named or not. I personally think it's okay. If you guys want to check out the Famitsu article that talks about the Sonic Frontiers art book, which in turn talks about Chaos Island, I will link it in the description below this video. Until then, that's it for now, but before I actually go, I want to let y'all know some things real quick. Things I plan to talk more in detail about in another video, but basically you got two things to look forward to on this channel. First of all, I'm going to be doing an interview with my fellow Sonic tuber, Unleash, who recently attended EGX London to play Sonic Frontiers. You guys have already been leaving me your questions to ask him during the interview, and I will get them over to him. I can't promise that all of them will be answered, but we will do what we can. Until then, stick around for that interview. In addition, I am planning another giveaway because this channel is getting really close to hitting 3,000 subs thanks to you awesome people out there, and so I want to drop another reward for y'all. This giveaway will be, surprisingly, for a non-Sonic game, and it's Freedom Planet 2, which came out recently. I'm doing a giveaway for this game because it's often considered a close cousin to the Sonic series, and having played it myself, I can attest to that. So, look forward to that, and as always, I'll see y'all next time. Hit that sub button and ring that bell for more Sonic content, and don't forget to let me know your feedback with those likes and comments. Peace! Don't forget, blue blurs for life. Take care.